AITA for telling my wife that she isn't a princess? For the past several months, she has been eerily acting like a child. I understand that she's playing with our daughter, but it comes across as weird to me to the degree that she plays the role. Our daughter wanted a mini pizza and so she asked me to make her one. And then my wife said me too because I'm a princess too. I told her no, you're an adult, not a princess. I'll make you one. But you're an adult. She laughed nervously and said okay, never mind. Our daughter heard and said, Dad, Mom is a princess too. I just said agreeing, but I didn't want to have to explain to her. I did feel bad because my wife changed out of her princess clothes too, but I don't know whether this whole ordeal makes me an AmItheAsshole. AITA for not letting a mom with a baby in front of me in a long queue and telling an elderly lady to UCK off. I went to a shop today and service there was really slow with only one register open, no self-checkout, and a really long line of people with majority of them having full carts of items. I on the other hand had only one item. Behind me was an elderly lady and a mom with a baby. The older lady started telling the mom to skip the queue and go to the front because she's with a child. I turned to her and asked her to speak for herself and that I do not agree that mom skips in front of me. We started arguing and I said that this checkout does not give priority for pregnant people and parents, so she should wait in line like everybody else, and if she is unable because of baby she shouldn't bring the baby to the store with her. The older lady started ranting how she has never seen behavior like this before. How I will understand when I have my own kids, to which I said, then she started telling me how my life will be horrible if I don't and how I lack empathy and will regret my decision, to which I told her to UCK off because I was tired of her *all shit. The older women and a mom then just kept talking about me and my behavior between themselves, and the mom then complained how she feels uncomfortable existing in a public space because of people like me. I have absolutely no problem with kids. I don't hate them, they never bother me, and parents in general here are able to control their kids, so they are never a problem. However, in this particular situation a child was calmly sleeping a stroller. And I just don't see a reason why she should have a privilege to skip a line just because she popped the baby out of her vajayjay. Sure, if a baby was screaming or she was carrying him in her hands or light rally any reason, but I'm a mom so my time is more important than yours, I would let her skip without a second thought. I'm just tired of parents feeling entitled just because without any adequate reason. AITA, edit. I never actually told the old lady to uck off, but due to the better term in English I chose to use *UCK off here instead of trying to explain the phrase I used because it's hard to do without knowing the language and culture. It was more like stop bossing me around and *UCK off, but without profanities. It was still a rude term. AITA for causing a scene and leaving a free vacation over the way my daughter was being treated. My brother, Nate, and his wife, Jen, invited me and my daughter, Maddie, 10, to go on vacation with them and their kids, Laura, 12, and Danny, 9. Nat and Jen are extremely well off. They both have high-paying jobs and earn around $350 between them. Maddie and I are middle class. I own a small house and Maddie goes to a private school. Maddie has a good life, but it doesn't compare to her cousins. My brother and Jen rented a house for us and paid for the rental, all of the food, and all of the activities. The only thing I paid for was gas when driving myself and Maddie to the house. I also have to say Nate and I don't get along very well, but I have a great relationship with Jen, mostly because of how they are with the kids. Nate tells the kids they don't have to be nice to anyone, never encourages them to share their toys, and doesn't discipline his kids. Jen is the opposite. She constantly tells the kids to share with their cousins and will punish them if they are being rude to the other kids or adults. Now to the vacation. They rented a 3-bedroom house. Nate and Jen had the master bedroom, I had the second bedroom with a double bed, and all of the kids were going to share a room with 2 bunk beds, 4 beds. The first night was pretty rough. The kids brought tons of toys but refused to let Maddie play with them. Jen came in and told them that before they left she told them they'd have to share their toys, so they either share or she takes them away. They were a little rude but mostly fine the rest of the night. The second night Jen went out to dinner with an old friend and Nate and I were home with the kids. We were getting the kids ready for bed and an argument broke out between the kids because Laura and Danny decided they don't want to share with Maddie and told her to sleep on the couch. I expected Nate to tell them that the bedroom was for all of the kids, but he told Maddie that she either has to sleep with me or on the couch. I asked if he was serious and he said yes, and that his kids weren't comfortable sharing with Maddie, and since he paid for the house, he has a right to kick Maddie out of the room. I told Maddie to get her bag and that if she doesn't have a bed, we're going home. Maybe an hour after we left, Jen came back and asked why Maddie. And I left. I told her what happened and she asked me to come back and promised that she'd take care of her husband and the kids because she wants her kids to have a good relationship with their cousins. I said no, and shortly after we got home I got a call from my brother yelling at me for causing a scene, creating problems between him and his wife, and being ungrateful for a free vacation. He got her parents involved and they're agreeing that it's a free vacation and I can't be picky. AITA for leaving with Maddie? AITA for saying no to a promotion? I'm newly married and my husband is upset. I'm a software engineer and my husband works in construction management. I grew up broke AF, so honestly I feel like I'm loaded right now. I make $120K and my husband makes $80K. I've gone from counting literal pennies because my budget was that tight, to not having to worry about buying anything we need. So at work, when my boss offered me a program manager position, but said that my salary would be reviewed at the next review cycle, I went and got a drink with the guy who has that job now, and the guy who had the job before him. The current guy said he was screwed out of a raise. He took the promotion when it was implied one was coming and it never came. And the guy before him? He was McKingless than I am currently in the role and kept getting his requests for raises rejected. That night, I told my husband about my day, and how he wasn't sure if I should take the promotion. We talked a bit, and he thought I should, just for my resume. The next morning, I asked my boss what the salary for the promotion would be, and he said that it would be up to HR in the next review cycle. I heard that tends to be the absolute minimum they can get away with, and honestly that role on the job market was valued at $150 to $180K, so I'd be majorly undervalued. I was starting to think I'd have to be a sucker to take that offer. So I told my boss I was grateful to be considered, but I was not comfortable taking on any role until terms of employment including compensation were more fully defined. He said his hands were tied, HR wouldn't renegotiate until the next quarter. I came home and told my husband I declined the promotion. And he was surprisingly mad about it. He said it was something we should have talked about instead of me just going on my own. And that I knew it didn't agree with me. I said that I knew my job, the financials weren't looking good, and you can't get water from a stone. And if I took that, I'd be doubling my workload for nothing. He said I'd have something for my resume that'd let me negotiate a higher pay elsewhere, since it'd open up other management jobs for me. I said I liked being an individual contributor. I wouldn't enjoy management, so that wasn't something I cared about. He said, "It's all about you, isn't it?" and was upset because we're married now and I was impacting both of our financial futures since I didn't want a hard job, and that it was normal to take on additional responsibilities and then have a salary review. I just didn't know because I'm too young, 27 to his 33, and have never been promoted since I job hop too much. I said it was an old school way of thinking to slave away for free on the hope you'll be rewarded. I tried that at my first 2 jobs and that's why I quit. All it does is tells them you're cheap and gullible. He called me naive and said I was too idealistic. AITA for declining the promotion? AITA for buying my niece a small birthday gift despite her parents not believing in gifts and birthdays. This issue is very controversial in my family right now and I wanted to get some outside opinions. So buckle up. My 24F, older brother, 30M, and Sil, 31F, have a daughter together, 6F. They have a very unconventional style of parenting emo, as they don't believe in celebrating birthdays or birthday gifts. This was my Sil's idea and she believes that celebrating your kids' birthdays makes them spoiled and makes them believe that their day is all about them. Weird, but hey, her kid, her rules, I guess. This is kind of controversial in my family because we are big on celebrating holidays and birthdays and love giving each other gifts, but we respect their wishes and don't celebrate or acknowledge my brother, Sil, or sadly my niece's birthday. Now my niece and I are pretty close as I'm her favorite auntie, and at first the whole birthday thing wasn't an issue, because my niece was still too young to understand. But now that she's 6, she understands the concept of a birthday and I guess is confused why she doesn't have one. My Sil went as far as to talk to my niece's teacher, explain her style of parenting, and the teacher now doesn't acknowledge my niece's birthday because my Sil will have a fit and complain to the school board if she does. Last weekend was my fiancé's birthday, and on Sunday my family and his family gathered at our house to have a small birthday dinner for him and a cake. When it was time for the cake and to blow out the candles, my niece asked my fiancé if she can't. He said sure, if it's okay with your mom and dad. My Sil looked hesitant but said yes. So my niece helped my fiancé blow out his candles and made a wish with him. As a joke, my fiancé asked her what she wished for and she said, "Cake on my birthday." Now her birthday happened to be this past Thursday. So yesterday, Sunday, we asked my brother and SILIF we can take my niece out for dinner. My sil say does. Long story short, at the end of dinner we got our server to bring out a cupcake for my niece with a candle in it so she can blow out. No one sung happy birthday or anything like that, even though I think it's ridiculous. I then gave my niece a little gift bag with a heart-shaped necklace inside, and told her it was a little treat for her. She obviously loved it and her cupcake. Well, fast forward, Sil and brother caught wind of this from my niece and are super pissed at my fiancé and they said we aren't respecting their parenting style and that my niece had not allowed Toby around us alone anymore. I told my Sil that my niece is going to suffer because of her weird thing she has against birthdays and gifts. I also explained to her thought no one acknowledged the birthday at the dinner. They think I'm a huge awe. The rest of my family thinks Sil is weird, but I shouldn't have done that. AITA here?